Well, hello and welcome to Teaching the Scriptures from Moody Bible Distance Learning. This is your fearless leader, Professor Jefferson, and I want to welcome you to week 7. We've come past Thanksgiving. We're in week 7, and you know what comes after week 7? Week 8. We're almost done. So, I wanted to say great job. I have been watching some of your videos, and I am so blessed by each class. It's a little different. But I've been really blessed by the different kind of environments that you guys have been teaching in. Every week, every time I teach this class, there's somebody with a dog. And the dog makes a special appearance in the video. And I've already had a dog. It was awesome. In fact, it looked a lot like my dog. And it got up on top of the couch while he was teaching and slept, which is exactly what my dog would have done. So it was great. And we've had teaching in another country, in another language, actually. We've had with little ones, which I loved. They were precious. Small group in a house, small group in an office. It's been great so far. So I will tell you that I do watch every minute. I take notes. And I want to also encourage you with something. I do take a lot of notes. And I will actually, this is really the only assignment in this class that I'll be really tough on. This is really important, and I want to give you real feedback, not just good job. I want to give you real feedback, and so you may not even agree with some of the things that I put, and that's fine. But as far as grade goes, I am grading you on the rubric, but I want to make sure that I'm kind of personally invested in your teaching. And so if I was sitting in the room, how would I have reacted? So you've done the teaching, and now you're going to do a stake evaluation. Now, I'm going to tell you that watching myself on tape is excruciating. I hate it. But that's what you're going to do. You're going to watch it again, and you are going to fill out the stake evaluation. You're going to do a personal review. What was your plan? How did it go? What was your plan for the hook? Did it go as well as you thought it did? What was the plan for the book? Did it go as well as thought it did? And you go through that. There's a template for you to use, and you can do that. And I know it's going to be hard for many of you, but it's going to be good for you. I actually know of a pastor friend who just can't do it. He can't go back over his sermon, and he can't really have anybody else go back over his sermon. He's very, very thin-skinned about that, which he would admit to. And if you're going to be in ministry, you got to have thick skin, tender heart. So that's what we're going to do this week. I've been tough on some of you. It's time for you to be tough on yourselves. And it's also time maybe in that stake evaluation to say, hey, you know what? I don't agree with what you said. I think this went pretty well. So with that said, you'll be doing that. There is no discussion board. And then there's one of my favorite assignments in this class. It's called I'm Teaching, but It's Not Working. And it's a letter, a short little letter from a ministry partner, ministry peer, and he or she is very, very discouraged. Now, if you've been in ministry long enough, that's reality. Okay? On Monday morning, a lot of pastors want to quit. Sunday night, a lot of youth pastors want to quit. It can be very discouraging. It isn't like when you put a puzzle together and you put the last piece in and you go, hey, I'm finished. Or if you fix a car and you're like, hey, it runs again. With ministry, you don't have that feedback like that. So you can get very discouraged. So you're going to be writing them a letter, pastoral, practical, theological. And what I want to do is I want to encourage you. Some of you, my brother and I are very different. My brother is what he calls digital. He's not in touch with his emotions very well. I am. And so there'll be times where he'll call me and he'll say, I didn't handle that very well. You would have handled that better. So in this letter, yes, you need to give them some steps. Okay, that's a very guy thing to do, right? Try to fix it. But I want you to encourage them from the scriptures. That's what I'm looking for, more than anything. Encouragement. So, a couple of things. I hope everyone had a fantastic Thanksgiving. We did. We had Friendsgiving, and we actually had a Brit from England and her boyfriend come, and she said it was the best Thanksgiving she'd ever had. Of course, they don't have Thanksgiving in England, so it was her. She's been in the States 20 years, but she said she's never experienced anything like what we had, which is really cool. She's not a believer, so She thinks she's a good person, and that's going to get her into heaven. So, massive opportunity with her there. I was very, very, very excited. And many of you know that my wife has experienced a lot of health problems over the past year, and she's better. And Thanksgiving, she was in the kitchen and she cooked all kinds of crazy stuff, and she was excited and she laughed. And for those of you who have been through health situations, it is incredible to come out on the other side. And today is our 25th wedding anniversary. We celebrated a couple of weeks ago, but today is the actual day, 25 years ago, that two kids decided to jump, and I'm so glad we did. And 25 years later, we're still here, where many of our friends are not. And, you know, recently I had somebody say, "What's the secret, Jeff?" There is no secret. The secret is that we are committed to each other in our vows. And it takes two, I realize that, but we, in 25 years, there's probably 3 times that if we were not believers, we could have hung it up, but instead we worked on it, and we've gotten better through it. So I love her more than, I didn't even know what love was. I was 24 years old. I didn't know what love was. So now I do. Okay, with that said, I want to tell you a quick story about how God can still use His Word even if you've been reading it for 30 years, which I have. So I've actually preached and taught on Joshua 3, and if you were to say Joshua 3, I'd say, "Oh yeah, I know everything about Joshua 3." Oh yeah, aren't we like that, teachers? But I wanted to encourage you with this, because our pastor preached on it on Sunday. Where did the water stop? The water stopped at a place called Adam, and scholars think that Adam was probably about 10 miles upstream. So the Israelites couldn't see it. They didn't know what was happening. As far as they knew, nothing was happening. And I want to tell you a quick story about my own life. And I've been pretty open with this, coming out of a pornography addiction 11 years ago. And I'm currently writing a book and putting some stuff together for men. And I've been praying for an opportunity to share all that. And God opened a door, and I went to Trinidad the last summer and actually spoke at a conference, of all things, 3,000 miles away. But I've been praying for an opportunity here. And I was getting discouraged because nothing was happening. That's not true. I ended up at a small group, and a friend of mine's daughter was sharing a devotional, so he came to videotape her, and I went back in the back. I wasn't going to be there, and I wasn't going to go back to talk to him, but I did. And he said, "Oh, by the way, I threw your name in the hat for this huge conference that is going to be happening. You may end up being a speaker for that." Now, whether that happens or not, I don't care. But God was damming the water 10 miles up the whole time. And I just want to encourage you. John Piper says that at any given time, God is doing 10,000 things in your life, and you may only be aware of about 3 of them. So that was really encouraging to me. So that's it. That's my rambling, a little longer than normal, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to evaluate yourself this week and to encourage somebody else. So no question of the week this week. Simply, let's get everything done. Almost there. Onward and upwards.